Hi guys, we put a post out on our social media community and we've had a few questions coming in about elements of witchcraft, magic and the occult. Stick around to find out more.
The first question we have is, would really like to know about candles and what the different colours are represented and used for.
Okay, that's a really good question, and one that's so large, which is why we've sort of given it its own video.
Yeah.
So thank you for waiting even longer than everyone else to have your question answered. We had a little look through and we found that there are a few differences in both our correspondences. So I managed to dig out the notes from my first couple of months of working in the occult, and my god, my handwriting's awful. But it's interesting to see. I do feel that what I would have these colours represent to me had changed slightly with my having more experience in the occult. But I'll read through them so you can get a rough idea of some people's associations of the colours. Starting off with black, can represent strong banishings, bindings, limitations, loss, confusion, and defining your boundaries. Blue can represent healing, wisdom, knowledge, and dreams. Brown is neutrality, stability, strength, grace, decision-making, pets and family. Gold is masculinity, sun power, daylight hours, riches, and the god. Green for finances, security, employment, fertility, and luck. Grey for cancellations, anger, greed, and envy. Light blue, calmness, tranquility, patience, understanding, and good health. Orange, adaptability, zest for life, energy, imagination. Pink for honour, friendship, virtue, morality, success, contentment, self-love, love and chastity. Purple for psychic power, mild banishing, ambition, inner strength and divination. Red for power, valour, courage and adversity. Silver for femininity, moon power, the night and the goddess. White, purity, innocence, cleansing, childhood, truth and protection. And finally yellow for communication, creativity, attraction, examination and tests.
Very interesting. I think it's fascinating when we look at what colour means to different cultures as well. In the UK, a red sort of triangle road warning sign is something that you need to be careful of. It's a warning. Whereas in China, red's a lucky colour. So it's interesting to see the different kind of cultural differences in terms of colour as well.
Yes.
But it's amazing how when you start to study colour and symbology, how you realise how much of it is in daily life that you maybe hadn't realised before. And you think, oh yeah, that makes sense, because that's how I feel about that particular colour anyway, because of the way that we've been brought up and the way that our society operates. And, so you kind of realise that, okay, I get how red means danger, fire, anger, and all those kinds of things. So your correspondences, so the meanings behind yours, are in some ways similar to mine, relating to mine, but I have some slightly different ones. So for me, sort of any earthly colours tend to represent more earthly topics or subjects. So like you said, brown, I think you said something about being connected with earth, or
so brown is like neutrality, stability.
Stability. So that's the kind of earthy kind of thing. So that would be similar to me. It would be anything connected with the earth. And in saying that, it does mean stability, but it also means things like money as well. So whereas gold can represent money, for me, anything connected with earth, mud, anything that's really sort of earthy, that's that kind of energy. So that works for me as well. A similar one for you is the violet, purple sort of colour. For me, that's the subconscious, but also spirit guides and connecting with the spirit realms as well. So purple does tend to be quite a spiritual colour. You see it a lot in anything to do with spiritual things. You'll see purple a lot,
Yeah.
relating to those kinds of things. So moving on from that, orange for me is one that really relates to thought processes in the mind. And keeping the thoughts nice and clear and keeping the mind nice and clear. So again, if you were to look at a colour that looked like maybe like a muddy orange, you might have clouded thoughts, or you might have thoughts that are muddy. So it's interesting that it's not just sort of primary colours or not just the main colours. If you're looking at a colour and it looks dirty or it looks muddy or it looks tainted with another colour, then you're able to say, okay, that's a mixture of those two energies. Yeah. So it's not just so straightforward. You can look at the mixes of colours.
You can get ridiculously deep, and there is a whole side of tarot. Yeah. Confusing.
Absolutely. Green for me is more related to relationships and how you relate. It's also to do with Venus, so the planet Venus and the energy that surrounds that as well. So actually that's something that's slightly different to yours.
Yeah.
Pink does mean love as well for me, whereas red's the sort of passion.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but for me, how you relate and other people relating to you, that's more of a green. Yellow for me is about the point of balance. So where is your point of balance and finding that balance? It's also linked to an energy that I call the Christ force, or the healing force, or the balancing force. So that's quite a sort of wide sort of concept to explain here, but that's what yellow represents for me. Moving on then, red. Red is very similar to yours. It's action, it's danger, it's fire, it relates to the planet Mars for me, so it's all of those things. It's aggression as well.
I certainly would have moved a few things from my pink, the original list of correspondences, over to the red now.
Right.
Certainly would have changed my view on grey and quite a few of the other colours to sort of fine tune them a bit better.
I liked though that you had light blue. So blue for me, it's about expansion and philosophy and the bigger picture. It's also about teaching. So blue, for me, blue is quite a holy colour for me in a weird way. I don't know why, but it just seems to be very connected with being in tune with higher energies, and also sort of peace and harmony connected with that as well.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot there behind blue, but for me all shades of blue fit into that.
Yeah.
And actually I did a post last year, I think, or the year before, about light blue being a really popular clock face colour.
Okay.
And I find that, or blue, but it tends to be the sort of clock face colour, and I think it represents the sky, because we tell the time by where the planets are and when the sun is and that sort of thing. So I think that's connected to that quite strongly as well, which is really interesting.
Fantastic.
So let's look at black. Obviously I love the colour black. I wear black a lot. Black is such a protective colour. And a really sort of, powerful and deep colour.
You connect it to Saturn, don't you? Which is the boundaries
Saturn,
and setting it
limitations, which I think, most people hate, but we all need. But also with that, I relate it to feminine energy. So for me, it's a feminine colour in its deeper aspects, so positive and negative of the feminine. And then I think you said silver was your colour to represent.
Yes,
with feminine, which it's the moon, so I get that. It would be the same in my correspondences, so the moon would be feminine and the sun would be masculine. However, grey for me is masculine. So grey is the masculine colour for me, and it represents all of that masculine energy. And then white is just purity. So some of our correspondences are the same. Yeah. Some of them are, slightly different, but most of them are very similar.
I've certainly moved on from this, and certainly taken on, say, some of your elements, and with the different systems I've studied, these are certainly more fine-tuned. This was quite a nice little find to go, I'm sure I've got something on that, and finding going, oh my God, I was such an idiot.
Everybody starts somewhere. And,
of course.
I think it does count for what it means to you as well, when it comes to colour, because you might wear something because it feels good for you, not because of what the correspondences are in terms of magic or working with magic or whatever. So there's a little bit of a blurred line there, but if you're looking to create something with a specific energy, you need to know what colour to use. So the question actually was related to candles, why we choose the colours of the candles that we do when we're carving them and when we're creating them. It goes across the board for any kind of magic that you're doing that relates to colour or where you're using colour. You stick with the correspondences. So if you were looking for something relaxing, something to make you feel very sort of laid back and relaxed and connected, and you were just chilling out, you wouldn't choose red. That would just be wrong to choose red, because red is action, it's vitality, it's fire, it's movement, it's passion, all the things that are the opposite of relaxation and sitting back and not taking action. So you need to be careful with the colours that you're using, and make sure that you do your research and pick the right colours, whether it's an altar cloth, a candle, your clothing, your robes, anything that you're using magically. Try to use that, because energy and colour has a wavelength and it relates to energy. So it's important to use the right colours, I think.
It is. Without going too deeply in it and without making this video far too long, I think that gives quite a good covering. You will probably find various different lists of correspondences depending on different societies and different occult groups and different groups depending on where you are in the world. But these are just some examples and the reasons why it's so important in magic. I really do hope this has helped answer your question, and make contact if you would like to know more or anything. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Bye bye.